Welcome back to the latest installment of Plate Stack Chat. You'll notice that the countdown did not get to 1. That was, we
Keeping
like to
people on
change.
their toes.
We like to change the rules around here sometimes. But yeah, this is episode 82, and we are talking all things. Well, we're all talking all things rulesy. Now, if only we had somebody.
All things.
If only we had someone on the podcast who was in the media. I mean, Tom's not here this week, so we're probably gonna have to put up with Jason as our media guru, putting out all sorts of media content. Jason, how are you this week?
I'm all right, and I feel guilty now because we're a few minutes late, and it's my fault. And if I'm honest with you, I was so close to finishing editing a video.
You carried on,
and I knew that if I could just finish those last few seconds, and I could start exporting it. Now, when we finish, there's a video ready.
Is that why? Is that why your computer's so laggy at this point? Because you're currently.
That also might be why my computer's a bit lagging today. So Perfect. I do feel guilty. And then you've been like, because we've got this media guy. So I was like, oh no, now I feel even worse for some reason. Yep. It's could also be the heat because it's like a sweat box in here.
It's like today. Plus, we're 20 degrees C and up and above. Like for us English people, that's
yeah. That's the city closing down. That's what that is. Yeah, but no, I was gonna say I'm good. I've missed training. I've only done
Were you editing videos?
What?
Were you editing videos?
No. So on Thursday, I managed to kind of, while working, just smash my hand into something. And my left hand, the ring finger is swollen, basically the knuckle on the finger.
That's your media finger as well. Like, what are we gonna do?
My media finger, yeah, it's a big problem. So I was like, oh, maybe I could still go and do the workout on Friday. And it was like a complex of hang snatch, hang power snatch. I was like, I don't think I can't close my hand. And then on Sunday I went and did there was the last CrossFit Kids session for a little while. So I went and then we had like that the parents could go along as well.
Was it like sports day?
Oh, we'd done the sports day on Friday.
Was there a dad's race?
I think there was one as we were leaving. They were just about to do it, but it was like egg and spoon anyway.
Oh,
and I was like,
it's not a race, is it?
No. And actually that's funny. Here you go.
Varied.
I'll give you my rundown on sports day quickly. Because we got there and the first 2 races were egg and spoon and like beanbag on your head and running kind of thing.
Esther's sports day had both of those. She had some other epic ones as well, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Harvey did terribly. No, I don't know if he did terribly. He was so focused on like keeping it balanced, whereas other kids would like run, it would fall off, they'd pick it
on
up,
their head.
Run. Yeah. So he was very. And then I saw them. Because they were like running through the different years, I would always see what was the next race coming up. And they started doing like the sack race. And I was like, hey, this kid loves to jump. He's a jumper. He's going to do well in this. And he won by a mile. And also what was really important.
How far were they? It was
a really fast.
He won by a mile.
They have to sack race all the way home, basically. And then come back. But what actually impressed me most was that his hat fell off mid-race and he didn't stop to pick it up, which is exactly the kind of thing we'd seen happen 2 races previously.
The focus on that kid, honestly. He's an ex-Timo Heros of sack racing.
Yeah. And then they had like a skipping. So they had like skipping ropes and they had to skip and run.
So this sounds like a very similar sports day. I like it. It's almost like
I'll tell you what. He smashed that one too. 2nd gold medal.
Was he one of the kids, right? So there were kids who could skip, and there were kids who could just run really fast while spinning a rope as they were doing it. Those were the kids who won.
Yeah, he was one of those. Literally, like at every like stride, the rope is just passing, and I don't even know how he does it. It's great.
Maybe.
So he won those 2, and I think he got he does CrossFit Kids. He got a bronze in the sprint and in the relay. So I was like,
Maybe there's a games event in there, double under sprint.
yeah, that would be good actually.
That would be it would certainly be interesting.
So the Friday was sports day. Sunday was this CrossFit Kids class, and I went to that, and the kids had picked skills for the parents to try as well. So we ended up doing wall
You were
walk.
like, hold my beer.
Yeah, we did wall walks, which were fine. I was worried about putting all my body weight on my hand, and it was all right. And then we did toes to rings. I was like, toes to rings. We're not even doing them that often in our classes actually. So I was really lots of toes to bar. That was fine, but as soon as I dropped off the ring, like my hand just started throbbing, and I was like, this wasn't good. So then today, initially I was planning to go in today, and then I was just like, I've got to work all day tomorrow with my hands. I don't want to, I'm going to feel stupid if I mess it up anymore. So I stayed home and made a video.
There you go. Well, Esther won her race at Sports Day.
Well done.
Obviously, she wasn't coming home if she hadn't. Yeah. She was the space opera race.
Oh, they didn't have that.
See, I even turned. I turned to my wife. I said, and then she went and literally smashed the thing. She didn't win by a mile. She won by a good 10 meters.
Yeah, well, probably a shorter track, wasn't it? Given more distance, she'd have accumulated a bigger lead. That's why I went up to them afterwards and I said, look, the third place finish, that was pretty close. But the sack race, the skipping one, he's really far ahead. Have you considered Z scores? And
have you considered that? Oh my god. Well, the cool thing at Esther School Sports Day, it was just like the games. You get your ticket and then you take it over to the little booth. When you come first, you get a ticket and you go over. They didn't have a leader's jersey though. I was a bit annoyed about that.
Yeah, there we go.
Cat's in the chat. Hi,
Cat
friends.
says hi. Hello, Cat.
I just realised.
I mean, we didn't really address it. You mentioned that Tom's not here. I just suddenly have like this pang of, oh, what a shame. It's maybe one of the few times when we speak really positively about the kids and Tom's not on. And usually it's all about like the sleepless nights and how hard it is to get your training in and all of that when Tom's here. And, it would have been nice for him to be here and be like, oh, there's some good stuff coming down the line.
Well, he obviously listens and watches when he's not here. So, Tom, I raise my Red Bull to you. But yeah, that's probably all I've got on Sports Day. Yeah, really. I mean, giving medals, giving stickers to kids who didn't win.
What? I didn't do that.
Has anyone not got a sticker just to make these completely meaningless?
No,
what they should have done was just take the stickers off the kids who had,
Has anyone not got a sticker and then pointed and laughed at them?
That kid.
And said, you are the next Matt Fraser. You will never want to feel this pain again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, what they did at our one is they gave them like they had proper medals. They were like plastic, but like medals for first, second, and third. But what was funny is as the better athletes were accumulating them, they were having more and more around their neck for like the next race. And it was kind of a problem because the people that were getting them were obviously the people that were also running the fastest or jumping the highest or whatever. So you had these medals like just whipping them in the face as they're running down the track. It's like, this seems like a bad idea.
I love that. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's been like the highlight of my sporting week would be living through my kids, which is great.
Solid. That's a solid thing to do.
Yeah. And then yes, CrossFit.
There are some people I wouldn't like to be living through at the moment. There are lots of, in fact, the title is it all doom and gloom at the CrossFit Games?
Oh, is that the title?
Well,
didn't even look at the title. Sorry, everyone. Is it? Yeah, interesting. Wow, what a week, hey?
What a week!
This
has probably been one of the biggest weeks. The title is it all doom and gloom, and is there a conspiracy? Because I've heard it not from just one person either. You
Oh,
expect,
really?
like, Hiller's just done a live video with the girl who popped in South Africa.
All right.
Literally 5 minutes ago. I think it finished about 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago. If you're watching live, obviously. But just all the stuff that's sort of just going wrong behind all this, just generally, like, Jason put out a video, as he does, about the rule book. I have watched the video about the rule book, and it just seems they're doing whatever they want. Like, here's the rules.
Yeah.
But here's an alternate set of rules that you could do if you wanted to, and actually we don't want to do that. Because if I like the example that you gave. You gave an example of the must. So it was the must, and it says athletes must start behind, that the whole
Start
idea
behind
of
the line. Yeah.
athletes must start behind the line. Like, well, I'm not sure they're giving anyone like they're giving people penalties for that, right? If you're not starting behind the line.
Oh yeah. Surely. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
must.
So it's a yeah. So a little extra information on that since then, because I omitted something that I didn't feel was important, and then I've been questioned on that a little bit. And basically the reason why they're making the change. Okay.
Okay.
But my point is, I don't care. Not I don't care. I do. No, I don't care. I do care. I do care. And actually, what I'd like to do is, in a few months' time, make a follow-up video on the changes that are coming down the line. Like, so with everything that's happened, what changes have they made and why? Like, I think that's good. It's not that I don't care. It's just that it's too late.
Well,
Like,
and that's the
it
point. If
might
you
be
want
a
to change
bad
it,
rule.
yeah. If you want to
You've
change
just
it,
got to
change
run
it
with it.
before. Yeah, go with it.
And
You-
my and the reason that and I get that you can say we've got a rule that we've never used this rule on anyone, right? It's like a clause we've got, we've never used it, we've never pulled the trigger on it. And it's
Mm.
like, great, okay, that's good, that's fair across the board for everyone who's entered. But it's not fair for people that haven't entered because of the rule. So
Yeah.
you may not have applied the rule, but other people have applied it to
Right, it's for
themselves.
themselves.
And in the video, I talk of this like hypothetical group of people that didn't sign up. And then I got a message from one of them, and that was really nice. So I got a message from someone who was basically saying, yeah, I didn't sign up because I compete RX with people, even though you technically would like, I am adaptive, I could do it, but I go to RX competition. So
Well,
based on that rule, I didn't sign up.
an interesting one would be, do you remember at Inferno Pairs when Billy Monger was there? And he competed against a bunch of other athletes, and I know maybe that doesn't stand up actually, because he did
Yeah.
an adapted version of the workout.
Yeah, there wasn't another not in an email that I was not in the email that was sent to me, as in addressed to me, but in an email that I did see, there was an example cited of another athlete that was a similar thing. It was an adaptive athlete who was maybe given like plates to use to balance out, because I think it was an adaptive, like missing an arm or like or a part of his arm, and it's sort of like he could compete RX, but even then he was adaptive because he was having to use something to help him grab the bar or plates to equalize out handstand push-ups or whatever it may be. And yes, he would be competitive against it, like if the level is you've got to be able to if you can beat me in the open, then that means you're not adaptive. Like that would be ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like what does it mean? What does it mean to be competitive? And so on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, the rule is very difficult to interpret. It's very subjective, and I 100% get all of that. It would be though, like because my reasoning behind all of this is not, and I actually, like someone might say, oh, the title was a bit clickbaity, like particularly for me, in that my videos are generally not clickbaity, because I'm talking about the rule book. But my point is, it's CrossFit throughout this season have hidden behind the rule is the rule on a number of occasions. There are like a number of examples you can cite where it's like, man, that seemed harsh, But okay, if we're
But
going
if the
by
rules are the
letter
rules,
of the rule is the
then
rule.
yeah, then the
You know, it's
rules.
like I mentioned, like Annika Greer, that everyone was kind of upset about what happened with her,
Mm.
and
Well, the rule was you have to submit it by midnight,
that's
and
it.
well, you
Like, oh, there
didn't.
was a
So,
glitch.
well, what do you
I
do?
thought I'd submitted it. You know, I was sure I
Yeah.
had. I don't know what happened. You know, I mean, let's also just get to the point of why can CrossFit not just have an automated response telling you you've submitted your score? Like, nearly every system you use online now sends you 17 emails as soon as you submit something to be like, just so you know, we've got your thing. Just so you know, like I get texts and emails from companies that is like, oh, just so you know, you've done this. I'm like, yeah, I know I've done it. I've literally just done it. But they just, automatically send these things off. CrossFit doesn't do that, and if they did, would have potentially avoided this kind of problem. But anyway, the point is, I feel bad for Annika. I think it's harsh what happened to her. It's sad to see someone, with so much potential have to bow out so early in the season. But I can get behind that is the rule. The rule is the rule. You've got to, and we've got to stick to it. But I can't get behind that if later the rule is not the rule. Like, it's all or nothing, right? You can be cold and heartless if it is the rule. Otherwise, you've got to do what you got to do. Right. So Sam, you're going to have to fill. I can hear you, but I'm going to be just off camera for a second.
Oh,
But I'm listening. But
okay.
someone else is also in here listening at the moment, and they should be in bed.
Oh, is it the boy or the girl?
It's the girl. The boy I can just tell to go on his own.
Oh, yeah, be kind to her. Well, there have been obviously. What really frustrates me, and I know that obviously Jason can hear putting baby to bed, but it just frustrates me when something, and maybe it frustrates you guys that are watching, but it frustrates me so much when something you love and something you love to watch just is bad. Like another interesting one. I watch. I don't know if anyone else watches, but on YouTube you type in like tennis fails or tennis arguments and stuff, and tennis is one of those sports where there are perfect arguments because they have an umpire and they have lots of different judges, so you can like argue with them. And they, the ball is out. So if you're not on like a center court with the Hawkeye thing and the ball is out, then the ball is out and it's called out and there's no like challenge or anything like that. Yeah, and you can argue with the judge like there's a lie, it's on the chalk line, it's moved it, you can see it. They're like, well, didn't see it here, and you can that's how I feel. Like you watch those and you're like, oh, I'm pulling my hair out. We can replay it, and it's you can clearly see that, but they're like, well, the rules are the rules. Like, yes, but you're not helping this in any way, shape, or form. This is supposed to be a game of tennis, and what you've made it into is something, just an argument for the sake of an argument. And I feel a bit like that with CrossFit. Like, this is supposed to be CrossFit, but what we're doing, the CrossFit Games, what we're doing is just making arguments for the sake of making arguments because some people can't be bothered to do the job properly or didn't do the job properly in the first place, which is the difficult bit, right? Maybe I'm alone on that.
Yeah, I guess it's just the fact that like it's difficult because on the one hand, on the one hand, people don't read the rules, so often there's an issue, and it's because people haven't. I mean, this from the open, like so because also this is the issue, right? Is when we talk of rules, you've got rules like the eligibility rules with the adaptive division. You've got the rules like the team rules and what you need to do to meet the requirements of being part of a team for an affiliate and all of that.
Let's not get back into that again because that is even more. Well,
Yeah,
they're the rules. Well, they're
but
the really
then
vague rules.
yeah. Well, I mean, that was my point. They were rules separated by a comma, and this was a
Yeah,
rule of a must. That really triggered me. But
yeah, yeah.
as somebody that used to teach English, that really that really got me.
Love that.
But and taught English as a foreign language, so taught that kind of English,
Mm,
like explaining the difference of these kind of things.
yeah.
I wasn't teaching Shakespeare. Uh, but the rules expand then into the competition itself. It is a competition where there are rules and where athletes up until the semi-finals need to read the rules and apply them themselves. And then obviously their videos are reviewed, but by that point it's too late. So, and it is a sport of rules almost to a degree higher than other sports, because there's usually in most sports there's somebody there who keeps the rules and will immediately inform you if you're going against the rules, right? But in this case, you've kind of got to make sure you've read it, you've understood it, and all of that. And so, as soon as you start bending and breaking rules with regards to, eligibility or team standings and things like that,
Mm.
it 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 diminishes the value of all the other rules, and that includes things like movement standards, how you have to set up, the open workouts starting behind the line. I use that as an example in the thing, but we saw that in workout 1 or whatever it was. Many people, no, workout 2, a lot of people started at the bar, not behind the line, right? I think you pointed that out on a past episode. So
I did.
it is.
I'm a
It's a
read the
much
sport
deeper
guide kind
thing.
of guy.
Yeah.
If so, the reason, genuinely, the reason that I read the guide is to find out how I can best win, because there will be, as there will be very specific, and there'll be commas in places, and there'll be musts, and there'll be ands, and those things matter. But when it says start behind the line, that's what I'm gonna do. If it doesn't say start behind the line, I'll start wherever I want.
Yeah. And
Because it's
especially if you've got a group of people that are basically looking for any advantage you
yeah,
give. If you don't write
because they need it.
specifically, and it comes back to things like the bar facing, but like, burpees over the bar, and having to specify that you must be using bumper plates, that
Yeah,
you can't be
the height.
using. Yeah, because if you don't specify it, well, I could be using, all the fractional plates. The
Yeah,
weight's
yeah,
correct, but the bar is lower to the
considerably
ground, so I
lower.
have less I need to jump over. Like,
Yep.
that is the level that we're at,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
unfortunately, fortunately.
also, yeah, also we've talked about it before, the discrepancy between pounds and kilos, but that's marginal, but it's still marginal. These are all marginal things. Um, Claire is in the comments. Hello, Claire. I've actually messaged Claire about half an hour ago about what we were going to talk about this evening.
Oh, right. Oh, dear.
Um, yeah. Well, and Claire's put, well, this is the issue with Comet Okavango. That Mr. English, is that a thing? Is that autocorrect? Autocorrect. Let's come back to that. Um, CrossFit don't seem to have followed their own rules, which is problematic when others are held to the standard with no grey area. That's exactly it. The standard is the standard, unless you're CrossFit.
Oh, so there is that's the
Oh,
South
that's
African
the
team.
SA. Yeah, it's the South African team name. Sorry.
Yeah. So sorry, have I missed something? What is that news from today then?
Huh? Have you? So we. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Okay. Let's go there. So
I have
our
been
team, the South African team, Okavango, who came first in the teams category,
right.
one of the females popped for that was yesterday or the day
Okay.
before.
What's
One of
the
them
grey
pop.
area issue?
Well, the grey area issue is that they so you don't know anything about the autocorrect either. So their email address that they sent it to was wrong. And let's find the morning chalk up.
All right,
Because
cool.
they're the real
No,
media.
I mean, I made this video today, so I did that. But actually, I've been full on dad today all day, so because
Oh,
Rochelle was working, so I've just been from 6 o'clock in the morning looking after my daughter until a short while ago. So yeah.
you want me to
Well, no,
share? Shall I
until
share the
midway
screen?
through this podcast, you literally saw me have to go and put her back to bed.
Do you want me to share the
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Go
pull
for it
this.
then.
Hang on, I'm going to pull this out of the current window because of other things. So, so,
CrossFit have her listed as male athlete free. Interesting.
correct. There you go. There you go. We have got Liz Burns, a member of Team CrossFit Comet Okavango, that qualified for the CrossFit Games from the fittest in Cape Town semi-final, was notified on June the 18th that the urine sample she provided tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Morning Chalk Up has confirmed. However, Burns, who denies the sample belongs to her, has alleged several irregularities with CrossFit's testing process, including athletes being given beer and caffeinated drinks in the testing station during drug testing by CrossFit representatives. That's an interesting one. The details. While both the A and B samples returned positive for GW1516 sulfoxide, GW1516 sulfone, metabolites of GW1516, doping control form DCF included with the sample lists her as SA male athlete 3. According to Burns, I never signed for a form which referred to me as male athlete, and I signed for the known alias known as SA female athlete 2, as I was the second female athlete to be tested. Then there are more irregularities. The doping control form, which was supposed to be sent to Burns immediately after it was filled out, was sent to the wrong email address. Blah 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 at hotmail.co.zani, ZANI, instead of blah 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 at hotmail.co.za. CrossFit claims that the error was due to the autocorrect issue from using an iPad. That was hence the autocorrect on the Claire's thing, but it wasn't actually. The DCF is important because it contains the sample number as proof the athlete signed and acknowledged the specific sample as his or her own. The drug, this is one of my favorite bits. The drug control officer responsible for reviewing all information is disputing Burns' account. According to email traffic reviewed between CrossFit and Burns, CrossFit stated on behalf of the office, you did complete all of the personal information on the doping control form for sample number redacted. They asked you to verify the information was correct and watch as you signed the form and hit the submit button. One big thing, CrossFit, though its email correspondence with Burns made 2 admissions. The drug control officer admitted that they had made a clerical error by having you complete a form intended for a male athlete, and drug tested at the fittest in Cape Town event was not indicative of how drug testing at CrossFit event is conducted. CrossFit can decline to comment for this article. Oh, it goes on. Should we carry on?
Yeah. No. I mean,
there's some going deeper stuff. Actually, this is important. We'll carry on because this is actually important. Going deeper.
Well, yeah, there is one. There's one thing that I'm kind of intrigued by.
Go on, pull it out.
Well, no, keep going because you're gonna. You sound like you've got other points you want to bring up. I'm just trying to.
There were other glaring irregularities to the testing process, according to Burns, and information provided to Morning Chalk Up. FISCT only tested one team, CrossFit Comet Okavango, rather than all teams that received prize money. According to the game season rulebook, a drug test is required to collect prize money or advance from semi-finals to the game. Correct. Read that earlier. Only one man and female from each team are typically tested according to semi-final organisers. However, FICT tested all 4 athletes, both male and female, but did not test any other team. Athletes were being given beer and caffeinated beverages while they were in the testing station. The second place team from FICT, CrossFit Kaiser Valley unit, was eventually administered drug testing on July 3rd, 2022, according to the Instagram post from Celeste Dutoit, a member of the team. The big picture, this is the latest in a series of alleged inconsistencies by CrossFit Games administration this season and has been brought forth discussion by concern by the overall CrossFit community. The mission by CrossFit of an inadequate execution of drug testing procedures at one of their semi-final events, not enough for Burns to avoid the drug tank at the time. Okavango has stated they will not be at the game, and it appears Tiger Valley is in line to take their place back 3-week late drug test their own, for which the timeline of receiving results is but could easily be back backing right up against the start of the game. That article was written by Justin LaFranco and Joe Genetin Pilawa.
Yeah. So
of the morning.
Is drinking beer before the drugs test irregular?
Well, that I know where you're going with this, because I was also standing 15 feet away from Mike.
It's a picture that I took at the gate at Sid.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not jumping down conspiracy lane, right?
No, we don't need to jump down to conspiracy. Let's call it conspiracy alley. I like that.
Conspiracy alley, right? But what is interesting is if you're saying that, you know, like caffeinated drinks and beer, and all I saw being passed around at Sid after the people went were knockos and beer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, and it goes back again, right, to not being an issue of, oh, so, you know, now we've got an argument there that maybe it was spiked, or maybe that gave a false positive or anything like that. It's just you can't apply a rule if you break another part of a rule. Like, it's the whole
No.
It's like a house of cards. It all falls down at that point, right? So I mean, basically, that's what lawyers are for, right? This is how they get overturned, like, quite often terrible things, and they'll be like, yes, but I think you'll find that the arresting officer didn't, you know, do this, and you're like, yeah, but he was there with a knife in his hand over the person. Yes, but you know, the arrest itself was illegal, so you have to let my client go. And you're like,
you've been
wow,
watching a lot of CSI or whatever. And just for the guys who are listening to this, the picture that Jason took, one of his own pictures, is a picture of Mike Catchis holding a beer, just in front of lane 8 at the main arena at Sid, probably 2 or 3 minutes after being announced.
Yeah, like no, less than 2 or 3 minutes, 2 or 3 seconds after the announcement. There was like a cheer. There were people literally there at like the side, because it had been delayed, hadn't it? It was like taking a long time to get it announced. So people had all kind of
go into that either.
Congregated behind the thing. As soon as it was announced, there was like a beer in his hand, and that picture is him holding it aloft a few seconds before he proceeds to down the entire thing in like another couple of seconds. So,
but that's the difficulty. Now, what I really, this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but in fact it's not. It's completely relevant. But what I really find difficult, because I've had lots of conversations this week, and I've talked to various people about Mike, and about what this might mean for him, what this might mean for his business, what this might mean for the guy's whole life revolves around him being an athlete, him being an elite athlete, him having been to the games, his reputation as a coach, his nutrition brand. He's, you know, this whole thing, it all revolves around that. And the guy is just a guy. Like, people have to remember that they're just people, and it's the same for people at CrossFit. The people that work for CrossFit, the people that work for the CrossFit Games are just people. Like, they mess up, and that is okay. Like, it is okay for people to mess up sometimes, and we don't have to crucify every single person who ever messes up in their life, because if we did that, we'd all be dead in varying degrees at varying times in our life. Every single person that has been around, that has done anything, has screwed something up in their life. Maybe they haven't, let their team members down, or whatever. The poor guy probably feels bad enough. Like, people don't need to sort of start slamming him. I mean, I haven't seen anyone sort of, apart from maybe his team, sort of slam him. But even then, they weren't. It was quite passive aggressive, but it was certainly aggressive.
I think. Okay.
Blair's got.
Yeah,
I believe I may be wrong. I believe, I may be wrong, alcohol used to be banned on WADA drugs testing. I believe it was revoked around 2018 from the WADA list.
Right. I just want to check one thing before I make a statement, because I want to make a
Okay.
statement that is immediately wrong.
Well,
Because
I'm going to go. I'm going to go back then. You find your statement, but the
okay, no, all right. Oh, so the fittest from Cape Town one is on. So basically, like I know that you've read the morning chalk up thing. What I've been following is actually the CrossFit Games news page,
okay.
because that's where they release the like official, this is what was in somebody's sample kind of thing. The problem is they, like, morning chalk up will release something as soon as an athlete speaks out,
Yeah.
and the games will not release something until they have finished the process. Now, I personally have proposed that I think this is a bad system, and what I think would be better would be that you release information as and when you have it within, like, so this event happened, we tested top 7 here, or I think it was top 8 in the male, like in male and female, so top 8 male and female, and we've had back negative tests from all of these athletes here. And if there's somebody that it wasn't negative and you're now having to go through testing the B sample or whatever, just say B samples are being tested for da 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 da. And if it comes back negative, you're like, oh, good. That's why we have a B sample. That makes sense. Probably there was some cross contamination at the lab, or it was
Well, I think as
a
well.
false
Is there a
positive or whatever.
possibility? But if one is cross contaminated or wrong, surely you should then go and test everybody's B sample.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're all
because you might get
on there, all of theirs are positive, and you're like, oh man, we just
well, but
swapped the
do
cup.
you know what I mean? But then you're, what do you do
Yeah.
in that scenario?
But the reason I was checking this is so that South African one they have put up. That's the latest one. Previous to that, the last one they put up were the teams. It was July 5th, and I think that was two teams from Mid-Atlantic and one from Syndicate Crown. Now, first of all, the teams from Mid-Atlantic, we knew about Shoefly because of the interview they'd done with Clydesdale. We didn't really know anything much about the other teams. Like, I actually heard about one of the teams because of all the people I've started following or talking to through Grid League, and one of the people on the team that now qualifies is part of one of the Grid League teams.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, on one of the Grid League things, they were talking about it, and I did think, and I do think there is something in there about how little we honestly care about teams. And we actually only care about individuals. And even within the teams, it's Rich Froning and Annie, and we still just care about individuals. So wait for that as a future topic. But the reason I was looking this up is so they haven't released about Joel, that is admitted to taking PEDs. They haven't released about Aylesbury and Mike's test, which means unless someone has told you, unless he's told someone and they've told you, we don't know what the substance was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, there's a good chance that if he had to tell his team, they will not have accepted I'm not going to tell you what's in there or what it was, or, I'm going to, I'm sure they would have asked more details. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that they have more information available to them than we have to us. But we will get that information. It's not that we'll never know. We're just waiting. But if he is appealing it, which is what it's, is what his post appeared to be, although it seemed to be that it was appealing it, but at the same time saying the appeal wouldn't be overturned in time. So I don't know if he is appealing it or not. But anyway, we won't hear until all of that finishes.
The way that I read it and that people have talked to me is that he's not been. But it says until the appeal is over, all I can do is apologize.
Yeah, I thought it was that he's appealing it, but he's appealing it in the sense of he's claiming he didn't do it, and so he's appealing that I don't know exactly what he wants out of that.
There's no way back, is there, from the appeal?
That's it.
You still get a ban.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the point,
it's a 2-year ban. You don't get
off. Well, the point is that it's in your system, isn't it? So that's why they give you the ban, because they're like, whether you knew it, so you didn't know about it, but it was still in your system, so you get 2 years. Oh, you knew about it, you get 4 years. Like that's basically what happens. But
what if it wasn't in your system though, and it actually was cross-contaminated?
Well, yeah. In fact, in that case, they'd have to reverse the decision, but I don't know how. If it's been, well, that's what the B sample's for, right? But if both your A and B sample are positive, so you wouldn't get, you wouldn't get told, like what you'd be told is your A sample has tested positive for this, and I suppose at that point you can come forward and say, yeah, okay, I admit it. Or you can be like, there's no way, I want my B sample tested, and it can move on from there. It's funny because they talk of transparency, but there's still a degree of mystery behind all of this. It's never 100% sure what they're doing. I mean, even with the teams, they only test 2 of the 4. They randomly pick 1 male, 1 female. So considering how many teams have tested positive compared to actually how many athletes on teams have been tested, it's quite shocking.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they're all popping for the same sort of thing.
That's the other thing. It really is the GW 1516 is like in every single one of them almost. So I don't know. I mean, but what's funny with like the Joella situation was just that we were so the community was just so tired of hearing people say, oh, I don't know what happened, contaminated substance or like cross contamination, or I ate some bad meat or whatever, that when he came out and said, oh, I did it, it was like so the other side, with people like really praising him for what he'd done, for like owning up to it. And you're kind of like, yeah, that is good. Like you said, they're just people and they make mistakes, and there's no need to pile on.
Yeah.
But there's also no need to like, I mean, yeah, like, well done. You made a mistake and you're owning up to it. And you're still going, and you're going to be banned for 4 years. You're an older, within CrossFit years, you're older anyway. So this is kind of your career over with regards to competitive CrossFit. But you're going out at least with your head held high to a degree, I guess. But it's just funny that like it went beyond that. It was just people were like, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so wonderful to see. Oh, you're the man. Well done. And you're like, I mean, you only admitted it when you got caught. Like there is that point. Let's not forget that. Yeah, in that situation, you did the best thing you could possibly do, but getting into that situation wasn't great. Listening out for screaming children.
Screaming children.
But anyway, that's it is what it is.
Anywho, couple of things.
Yeah.
So
hit it.
Arguably, now I know that he's not part of the athlete program anymore. But Carl Saville, who is a nice fella.
Mm-hmm.
He's announced something yesterday. Which, again, if you're on Conspiracy Alley, like maybe I am at the moment, you could be like hey everyone, look over here, because don't look over there, because if you look over there, that might end up with me in a really bad place. So come look over this new thing that I'm going to do over here. So he's just announced.
Is this OCR?
OCR meets functional fitness. Yeah, I mean, been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. We did that with my zone about 4 weeks ago. Maybe not on this scale. But yeah, brought to you behind the team behind the European Championship. The event will be a hybrid between functional fitness and classic obstacle course racing. We know everyone loves a challenge, so what's better than an inclusive OCR event that features multiple functional fitness stations throughout the course? Nottingham, 7th May 2023. Early bird open now.
So you doing that?
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, I might be there. I assume I'll be asked to MC. He can afford me.
That's what you're assuming. I like that.
Yeah. I'm such an asshole. But yeah, that I think it's a good thing. I'm interested to see if it'll be indoor because I want. In fact, it's almost certainly not going to.
No.
Because all of the pictures on their Instagram, which if you want to go to, it's hybrid OCR, all one. But yeah, they're all pictures out. If anyone wants to fund it, I want to do an indoor version of that, which I think would be much better.
Yeah.
Personally, because it would be like Ninja Warrior meets some CrossFit event.
Right.
Or let's call it a functional fitness event because I don't think CrossFit would allow the licensing thing probably.
Yeah, someone was asking me some questions about that recently, actually. Because of a difference, there was some difference between certain competitions, and they were asking me about, surely shouldn't it be all like standardized across if they're CrossFit events? And I was like, well, actually, a lot of these events aren't CrossFit events, and then even those that are, I don't think CrossFit particularly cares too much what they do, because it's as long as they're getting money from it, they seem happy. They seem to have very, apart from like semi-finals, obviously, but just licensed events, they seem to have very little input into
There
them.
is. Well, no, there is. We can. I mean, I've had conversations with people that have put on license. I mean, it's pretty narrow who those people are because there's only ones that are people doing it. I mean, in fact, that's not actually true. It's not true. Ems is putting on a CrossFit license event in the British Masters and Teens. I haven't talked to her about it.
Yeah.
But I have. Well, I've talked to her. I talked to Claire from the graph, and she was saying that they do have input and they do have to submit stuff.
Oh, because there is one event that's doing something that I am so eager to talk about, and I'm just waiting for either them to finally pull the trigger on something or not, in which case either way, like they wait long enough and that in itself becomes news, or they do it and it's news. That makes sense?
Okay.
So they've said they're going to do something, or they've suggested they're going to do something, and then there's been no follow-up despite people asking questions.
Okay.
And it's just been a kind of, we're talking with CrossFit about how to do it. And that was almost a month ago. So I'm just kind of waiting
about it. Just drop the real media. Come on.
A bit longer.
Shorts is in the comments. Yes, Shorts. Talk about it. Just drop the real media. Come on. Jace, talk about it.
So
let me give it just quickly. Let me give you the criteria because I have specifically asked this question. And let me give you the criteria for what can be called. You can't do that. Who's the real media? Says Claire. The criteria must be to call it a CrossFit comp is for it to be a licensed event. Otherwise, the only way you can reference CrossFit, including hashtag, is to reference a full license affiliate name, e.g., the
CrossFit Bath Summer.
CrossFit Bath Throwdown. Post the XXX. Oh no, let's say the La Roche Throwdown hosted by Bearwald and CrossFit.
But in that case, but my question is with regards to being a licensed event. If you are a licensed event, how much input do they have into what your event does? That was my point. Not about whether, so like once you've got your license and you've paid for the license basically, and you've met their kind of, they've looked at your, so from my experience, it's been people basically, they've checked that you haven't already been using CrossFit branding. And then then once you've removed all of that from your Instagram, they're like, great, now you can be a licensed event and you can put it in. And you're kind of like, well, I'm glad I took it all out. That seems to be the main thing. And then once you've got it, like, do they dictate how you qualify people, how workouts must be approached, how many workouts are allowed to be done, what you're allowed to include in your workouts, what you're not allowed? So I want to include.
No, I know the answer is I know the real world knowledge of the answer to that question, but whether that was supposed to happen is a different thing. So I know that at one CrossFit Life event, workouts were changed last minute. That there was definitely no time to have been
Yeah.
approved by CrossFit. So
No.
if that is the case that they have to do it, then they didn't. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure it matters. It's still
So my point was, I think once you've paid CrossFit their money, you've got the name, they don't take too active a look at actually what events are doing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
lovely,
here we go.
yeah.
Shorts is weighing in. I haven't seen the agreement, but I imagine there'll be a clause that says, as long as you don't tarnish the brand name, etc., as that will probably get license stripped real quick. Shorts, almost everything there is to know about CrossFit, so I'd take that as almost
yeah.
red.
And what could you not put it? So like because we're talking about this obstacle race course, right? Or
Mhm.
like a Ninja Warrior type thing. We've had an obstacle course at the games.
Yep.
So you can't put in an obstacle course and then someone turn around and say,
Oh, I can't do that.
obstacle course isn't CrossFit, and you go games. I mean, we've had shooting twice now, rogue and French throwdown.
Mhm.
We've had a softball toss. Like we've had, we've had an event where people were hitting something with a hammer.
Yeah.
that was an event at the games.
Yep.
So
There've been kayaking, paddleboarding, cycling, cross country cycling.
yeah.
Yeah. Would make sense, Jace, as they pull the pin program for team and master.
I believe they programmed one workout of the workouts. I might be wrong, but I think they programmed specifically one workout. But I might be wrong.
So going back to that's the criteria for being to call yourself one. So talk to us, Jace, the real media.
Yeah. So basically, a competition said they're gonna. So do you remember levels?
Oh yeah,
You remember levels, everybody?
I do remember levels,
You've got your level from the Open. A competition is going to use levels. They're going to be like the first competition to use levels in from what I've seen. I've not found anyone else that's done it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they announced this, somebody else I saw asked them, okay, but what if somebody was sick during the Open, so their level doesn't really correspond to how good they are, or like,
if you don't have one,
or what if, well, you don't get one unless you completed at least all 3 Open workouts. So there's someone at our box who was at Strength and Depth as part of the Community Cup, who was on a team at SID Origins. So there is no doubt in my mind he is far fitter than me, but he doesn't have a level because he did one of the workouts and then he went on holiday and got engaged, and so he didn't do the other 2. But he doesn't have a level, right?
What competition is that?
Yeah, you'll find out in due course. So
it's online. Surely that's online.
Yeah, you can find it. If I give it all away, then I've got nothing to tease people with later. My video. Anyway, I spoke to them and asked about it, and they were like, yeah, we're just discussing with CrossFit how we're gonna do it. We'll let you know in a few like it'll be announced in a few days. And a few days is now almost a month. So my question is it a lot more complicated than you imagined? Because it's a system that people can very easily start pointing out the flaws in, that we've only actually had a couple of workouts to establish the level. So there are going to be skills that people have never had to do that could be of a certain level. There will be movements that they've never had to do. So how do we determine that they can compete at
I'm
this
really
level?
happy being like, well, I don't even know I'm like a level 1. Oh, that makes me happy, if anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the thing, right? That's it's not groundbreaking, guys. It's just interesting that it seemed like something CrossFit threw out last minute without much thought, and now in application, it's looking like it was definitely something that got thrown out very last minute without much thought. What's that? Level 1.
Straight up level 1. The good thing is though, everyone that's getting taken out because of drug testing is just making my Open score. You know what I mean? It's just pulling me closer to number 1.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that'll change my level.
Can you imagine?
If enough get drug tested, I'll be level 2.
I wonder if that. I mean, you joke, but there must be someone that was on that was right on the cusp, right? Like
Yeah.
borderline between two levels.
Do they get taken out though?
Probably not. They didn't take out shuttle runs. Why are they going to take out people that?
What people?
No, they don't, do they? Because I looked at the semi-final leaderboard the other day, and they still had Joel was still in 5th, and Spencer in 6th, whereas he, so they haven't actually adjusted the leaderboard, so they're still on there.
Yeah.
So you need to manually adjust your score by just mentally thinking about how many people have been taken out of competition since the Open, and just put yourself up to that many spots.
Yeah. Yeah. We also, so on the topic of functional fitness, High Rock, we talked about that with George a little while ago. But it's not just an indoor fitness competition anymore.
No.
You saw that on our
I saw that on your thing. So I've got a question about that.
Go on, hit me.
So it was still the same. It was still the exact same movements in the same order.
It would. So if it were possible to have it as the same movements, it would have been. So it wasn't actually the event of High Rocks. It was a PFT, like a physical fitness.
Right. Okay.
So instead, there is normally a PFT that they do, which includes wall balls, includes a ski. But getting wall ball target in the middle of the field, was problematic at this point. But it wasn't impossible, so we could have done it.
Yeah. No, because it's interesting, because it sort of shows, with everything there's positives and negatives, right? And so, like, the beauty of High Rocks is, it's always the same. So we've got like a standard model, and we can just go anywhere and set it up and do it, and it's it's fixed, and we don't need to think about it, basically. But it's limiting in that sense as well. Whereas, CrossFit, you basically could be like, I'm going to put on a competition. Let's go see the venue. Right. What can we do here? And you've got the flexibility to pretty much do what you want within the space.
Yeah. So Claire is.
So Claire is just wrong, basically, is what Claire is. I will take thrusters over wall balls any day of the week.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So these are.
And who else will take? You know who else will take thrusters over wall balls any day of the week with me? Colton Mertens.
That's because you're both along. We're
already closer to the ground. It's fine.
Claire, can you post the workout in the chat? I'm sure that's quite a possible thing. You're probably already writing, actually. But it was like it was if I got it right, there's a 200-meter run. This is in pairs. 200-meter run, then a 100-meter burpee broad jump, then a 200-meter run, then some amount of lunging.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're coming up. This is pushing our comments up. 200-meter run. Go for it. Well, let's let her do that. Then we'll go with it. But it was definitely a physical fitness there. I'm very surprised we didn't have anyone die. Because it was so hot.
I was going to say, like,
it was so hot, and it was. Fortunately, we started a little bit early. And yeah, it was so good. It was just so good. It was nice to just be outside. It would have sucked if we'd have had to do that indoors. Yeah, so the workout was a 200-meter run, then a 100-meter burpee broad jump, then a 200-meter run, then a 100-meter lunge, then a 200-meter run, and then a 1600. So the lunges were synchro, and the burpee broad jumps were synchro. They're in pairs. The row is split 1600 meters between you. There was push-ups in there as well, Claire. There was a 200-meter run and I want to say 100 push-ups. They weren't synchro, but you had to do at least 10 each. Just like if you'd started, you had to finish your 10. It just looked disgusting.
Really? That's
yeah. Well, that was a rule that we made rather than.
Yeah, because I mean, you can get like. What 10 is it? I mean, I guess you can break.
You didn't have to go. You didn't have to go. Unbroken.
Push-ups. You go. I go. She said.
Yeah. So it was you go. I go in 10. Not. You didn't have to do 100 each. So like, if me and you were doing it and I started my 10, I would have to complete 10 before you were allowed to do 10.
Oh, see, that would be a real pain.
Yeah. But the
Because if
thrusters,
we went together, I imagine that I would be hoping that you could do like you could like kind of do a load, and then I'll just knock out as many as I can while you recover, and then I would be dead and be like, okay, you do some more, because I'm moving
yeah,
a lot less up and down at that point.
the absolute worst one, I didn't do the workout, but from what it looked like, 100 synchro thrusters. And they were only 5 and 10 kilos. And some of the fittest guys in our gym were like nearly vomiting at the end. It was so bad. And it was all on a gradient. The common is like it's steep. So they were working their way up the hill. So the 200 was up the hill and then down the hill. Then you had to get to the next. You had to get to the next obstacle and then go up the hill and down the hill. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm surprised I wasn't invited to cover it, so that's interesting.
We didn't want to bring you all the way just for a Hyrox event.
Yeah,
we did. I did make it very clear it was Bearwood and CrossFit in conjunction. But that's another interesting topic. CrossFit gyms affiliating to Hyrox. Is that a thing? I think it is.
Well,
I'm sure there are some.
I mean, I put out that video about Grid League, and before I put that out, I thought, all right, here is the kiss of death of my channel right now. I'm gonna talk to anybody that follows me about CrossFit news, and I'm gonna talk about Grid League. And actually, that video did really well, and it's got loads of comments on it, and people really chipped in on like with their opinions and what they thought.
That's,
and
again, if I'm going into making competitions, I would definitely make a Grid League. Like I would speak to the FGL and be like, look, can we make a UK, like a proper UK one?
Well, I just thought it was I just toyed with the idea, of so it's obviously there is news that comes out. We've just talked about some big news, but there's not news coming out every day. But you've got to kind of sometimes you just got to give it a little bit of an opinion piece, or I'm pondering this idea, and I just sort of had this idea that it's interesting how on the surface it looks inaccessible and like the crazy movements they're doing, but actually not everyone is having to do those crazy movements. And like we could have a team that you're on my team, and as soon as there's like a pig that needs to be flipped, I'll be like, tag, you're it. You come out and throw that over.
I was talking to have we talked about this before on the podcast? Did we talk about it last week maybe? But it's like the athletics. When I was at school, we went to an athletics meet, and I would do the discus and the shot put, but then they'd make me do the relay because I had to do a third event.
Oh yeah, we talked about the fact that you're like compelled to.
Yeah, you have to do. So I would have to do some amount of burpee box jumps or burpee.
Oh no, but that's fine. But yeah, but like then, there would be stuff that you could do, right? So like you can do burpees.
Yeah, but I'm not proficient.
But you're not doing a triple touch that was toes to bar, chest to bar, muscle up, right? So it's sort of like we'll get someone in doing that, but probably the person that's doing that, they can also probably flip the thing, but
again, not as proficiently as me.
Like once and then have a break.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I just thought that was interesting, and so in the comments, it was actually Mary Carmen, who may well listen to this if she's not listening now after the fact, but she was like saying, what about the what is it, FR3 or OCR, and I guess Hyrox is another one. And actually when I saw then that OCR CrossFit mashup, I was like, oh, here we are, here's another thing where it's just other ways.
I can't see that being I can see CrossFit Legal getting all over that.
The mashup thing?
Yeah, I even think but I don't even think that
it's already that Instagram handle you gave out has already been removed.
No. Hybrid OCR is not. No, that's fine. There was some. Where did they post? Where was the post? No, it was on. Go back to that. On post there. And Paul. So interesting, and this is where and I can't decide. Obviously, I've known Carl. I've met Carl a few times, but I can't decide if he's done this on purpose or by accident. Do you know when people like post their post with the picture and then underneath in the comments they put their hashtag?
Yeah.
So Hybrid OCR have hashtag in their post, hashtag OCR, hashtag challenge, hashtag fun, hashtag Hybrid OCR challenge. But in the comments, Carl has hashtag, you know, like when they put the ... Carl has hashtagged CrossFit Fitness OCR. Now, if Hybrid OCR had hashtag that would be pulled. That would be CrossFit. The
There we
CrossFit
go.
Legal would be on that. But I don't know where the ground is for that.
Where the legal loopholes are.
Where the
Well, there
legal
we go.
loopholes are.
Well,
Because
as you well know,
Carl
the
is an
rule is
affiliate.
the
Carl
rule.
is an affiliate owner, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's just posting. He's just typed in hashtag CrossFit. I'm an affiliate owner. You know, I'm an affiliate owner. Therefore, I can write that.
I say it whenever I go to Starbucks. I get my coffee, and as I'm leaving, I'm like hashtag CrossFit, and then I walk out. That's what I do. I'm an affiliate owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting.
Which is an interesting one. Very interesting. But I can see that. I think that will depend on how well the European Championships do this year.
Oh, okay.
Final
thing before we
go on.
gotta end this up. Underdog Athletics and Daniel Brandon
Oh, mate.
leaving.
I think that's the starter, really. I think that's not really even news, is it?
I think it's interesting to the point that I've got a video coming out on that.
Have
probably
you,
in the next 10
minutes. You obviously listened to what Pat Vellner had to say about it on the
I may have clipped that and put that in my video.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Pat Vellner, I love Uncle Pat. I think he's an absolute ledge.
Well, my point isn't about that, because do you know what is annoying? Is I was actually going to do a video about it not being breaking news. I was like, this isn't breaking news. She basically said it 2 days previously on the Savan podcast that she wasn't really there anymore, kind of thing. And then, of course, the drug stuff came out, so I had to make a video on that. And then I did this one about the rule book, so we did that. And so
this must be in conjunction. Cat's posted heartbreaking situation, and that must be about the Daniel Brandon.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, too much time passed, so I couldn't put out that video. But I'd been thinking about it a lot, and I still kind of wanted to talk about it. But I'm pitching it basically as 2 years in a row, her association with Underdog Athletics has been a like real challenge for her at the games. Because last year, the two got COVID, and she was so like she got, and she was like isolated and having to compete on her own and couldn't enjoy the experience and kept getting tested. So any moment, could this be my last one? And now obviously this year going in as it is going to be another kind of challenge, with all of this kind of turbulent situation just going into the games. So that's how I'm pitching the video this time. So if you want to see that, anybody, it'll be uploaded as soon as we finish this conversation, basically.
There you go. Well, Kat has also said yes, and Jason Hopper was the one who brought up boundary.
And yes, Kat, don't worry, that clip is also in my video.
Well, and also going back to the hashtag CrossFit, you can, according to Shorts, you can only hashtag CrossFit in conjunction with your affiliate name. I'm not sure that is 100% true, because we also have CrossFit license event. You must be able to hashtag CrossFit in a CrossFit. But I know you can.
Yeah, but I think a licensed event is viewed as an affiliate, basically. Like it's in the same way, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like Shorts is about to give us an example.
Or an egg.
Ooh, or an egg, e.g. Yeah, but I mean, more events means more work, right? For people who are on the competition floor.
Yeah,
like
but
myself,
that's not. Well, yeah, good for people like yourself, maybe, but it's also more work for the judges that are paying their way to get to these events and do things. It's more work for the volunteers are setting up equipment, taking stuff down, and that, and like we're seeing competitions start to really struggle to staff their competitions, and I don't think the solution to that is have more competitions.
I agree. I agree. If this is a whole nother episode, I think. But there are CrossFit Chooks. Let's just follow this thread quickly first. So CrossFit shorts, but CrossFit Tewkesbury can post with hashtag, but the local swimming are working. We are working with cannot. Yeah, that does make sense, because local swimming are not an affiliate, and they're not actually doing CrossFit. They're doing swimming, and they're not, unless they're training at the affiliate, I guess. In which case, CrossFit Tewkesbury could put it up on their Instagram and tag them. But yeah, the whole legal stuff. But what we don't need is more competitions. What we do need is more regulation among competitions. And iron sharpens iron. Like, so that's business, right? Some people, it's governance. Exactly. There we go. But business, it's just business.
It's just business.
But it is. You come along, especially the CrossFit Games is, again, just business. Just CrossFit is a business. At the end, when it all boiled down, it is a business. Its purpose is to make money, and it makes money out of making people healthier, which is absolutely fine. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But let's not pretend that it's not a business. And CrossFit competitions are also business. So that's, again, people making money is not a dirty thing to do at all.
No, it's not. I guess. I mean, it's interesting if you want to go down that route of it's business and it's and it's for someone who's going to make money off this business. Great. Making money off a business that's being run 90% by volunteers could cause an issue for some people. They could be like, well, hold on, how come
they're all volunteering though, right? The Olympics does the same thing. I know that we always throw out the Olympics as the thing.
Oh, not
the World Cup.
Not
the World
we,
Cup.
You,
the World Cup does. Any sporting event, any event, take the festival, run predominantly by volunteers.
Yeah.
Music festivals, predominantly volunteer led. But the festival gives value to the volunteer, so they get to stand there and watch Ed Sheeran or whoever they want to watch.
Yeah.
Or so they get value from it.
I get that. I guess it's
CrossFit and functional fitness
can
competitions get value. People get value from it. They want to judge, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I would be happy if people turn around and went, "I'm not doing it unless we're getting paid."
No, but I don't think it's that. I think it's they are happy to do it, and like someone's happy to go to to work at a festival and not get paid and just benefit from being at that festival. The problem that you have is if you're having a festival every weekend, you as much as even if you might want to go, you can't. It's not like you've got to justify going. And that gets harder and harder the more you do. And then what happens is people are selective, and then they get criticized at times for, oh, you're only coming to this event and that event. You only want to do the big events. You don't want to do help out all these different ones. So I don't know. There's a lot there, but you're right. That's a conversation for another day. We got to
wrap this one up.
We got to wrap this up. It's far too hot to stay sat at this computer much longer.
Well, I've enjoyed this chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Do go to Jason's YouTube channel and watch his videos. Go to Chalking Fitness at Chalking Fitness. Go and check all Jason's all of Tom's stuff. Because he's putting out some decent content as well. He's Mr. Stat. In fact, thanks for keeping me company whilst I clean my house. There's a good topic on judging. Let's get shorts on. We get shorts on. That's a great shout. Shorts, you're in the game. Not right now, obviously. Future.
Yeah, no.
Definitely
not right
now. If you haven't, I was on another podcast as well. Whilst I was at Sid, actually. I'm going to get the exact name of it. Europe is Coming is the name. And it's the Europe is Coming podcast. Sid Sounds with Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Andre Houdet, and many others. I was one of the many others. Although I spoke for longer than Andre Houdet. But in that podcast, the reason it made me think of that, in that podcast, I did say that I accredited Tom with all my stats and everything that I knew about all the athletes, and said that he has more knowledge in his little finger of CrossFit than I ever will. I stand by that. Love you, Tom. And yeah, I think on that pressure note, we're
I have also recently recorded something for someone, but I don't know when it's coming out. So when I know, then I might mention it. If it
you know what, mate? If you were a media outlet, that would be the worst news ever. By the way, I know something, I've done something, but I don't really know what it is.
No, I know what it is. I know what I've done. I just can't tell you where to go and see it because it's not there. Yeah.
Okay.
And if I said, I've recorded this thing, and then it's like 6 months later it comes out, I'll feel like an idiot for sending you there.
There you go. Well, happy days. Thanks everyone for coming along. Thanks for chipping in. Again, thanks Claire for being in the chat a lot. And Shorts. Who else are notables? Kat, obviously.
Yeah. Sophie at the end there.
Sophie in the end. Yeah, she was too busy pushing the Hoover around, I'd imagine, to be
Mike Halpin also sent me a message during but through my phone, not through this. So.
Not through that. No worries. Well, bless you all. Have a great week, and we'll see you 8 p.m. live next Monday. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.